In this video, I'm going to show you the best simple golf tips for brand new golfers and high handicap golfers to help you play better golf. It is imperative, so important to have a positive mindset. Now, many new golfers or higher handicapped golfers will stand on a tee box like this and only think about, oh my goodness, there's trees on the right, there's trees left, there's out of bounds, there's water. It's hard, but try and switch that mindset. Really try and think positively. As much as it doesn't guarantee you're gonna hit an instantly better shot, it's definitely gonna help you swing with more confidence. So when you stand here now, I'm not thinking about these trees on the right and the left. I'm picking a point right down there on the fairway. There's a marker down there. It's absolutely perfect. I'm thinking to myself, I've got loads of room down there. If I make a good connection, I know I can hit a golf ball in that general direction. That is important. It brings us nicely onto our next tip, is your tee height. It's really important when you're hitting a longer club, certainly a driver or a 3-wood, that you get the consistent tee height so you hit the right part of the club head. With a driver, that's just slightly above centre. Castle tees are a great addition to your golf bag because that is a consistent tee height all the time. You place it in the ground and you know every single time that is how high your tee is going to be placed. And pink ones are brilliant for driver. If you want to just use a singular wooden tee or a plastic tee, my first tip is to hold it between your index finger and your middle finger and then place the ball on top while it's still in your hand. And then you can consistently put this tee peg in the ground and you can start to see that pattern of how much you've teed it into the ground. Put the club behind the ball briefly, perfect. Half the ball is above the driver head. I've now got my consistent tee height, I've got a positive mindset, so I can stand on this tee and hit the best shot possible. So as a new golfer, a beginner golfer, it's not always you're gonna hit a great shot. You are gonna find yourself in trouble, let's be honest. Even good golfers do. But it's how you recover. From here, I'm miles away from the hole, so trying to hit something like a hybrid or a 3-wood would be just silly. I'm not gonna get it back in play. I might hit the tree, I might stick it in the water hazard, I might really mess it up. Sometimes you have got to take your medicine. So there's too many golfers trying to go for the aggressive shot. Taking your medicine is key. So on a shot like this, it's almost eliminating any real issues, any future issues. Yes, we want to get back in the fairway, definitely. I could go here to the left, but there's no massive advantage of going that way. I'm going to keep it lower than the trees. I've just got an 8-iron in my hand. I'm going to grip down on the golf clubs because we don't need too much distance or power. Slightly back in my stance and almost hit like an extended chip shot. Notice how my arms and the club aren't really doing a great deal. I'm not using too much wrist hinge here. Pick a line. I just want it to land back on the fairway. Keep it underneath that tree. And hey presto, we are back in the fairway and not making any more silly mistakes. How many times would you pull a club out and it looks like that? It's got mud on the face, mud in the grooves. I mean, that is gonna have a negative effect to the result of your golf shot. If it's not clean, it's gonna be inconsistent. You're gonna hit the ball further, but not in a good way. Like it's gonna reduce the spin. It's not particularly nice to look down on. It's gonna change the flight of the golf shot as well. You wanna make sure that your clubs are in pristine condition. Make sure you carry a towel around with you. Give it a clean. If you needed to get a tee peg and run it inside the grooves to get any of that dirt out, you can do it quickly. Dry and clean is key because you are going to get the best use out of your clubs. When you're out on the golf course, there's lots of elements to contend with. One of the main ones though is the undulations, the hills. If you're on a nice flat driving range, Matt, where you aim ideally is where you should hit the ball. So you start going to hills, there's some things to note. If the ball is above your feet, so I'm hitting towards you at the camera now, and the ball is higher than my feet, there's a tendency of that ball gonna go too much to the left. If, when I'm hitting this way for argument's sake, my feet now are above the golf ball, the ball's gonna leap more to the right. That's worth knowing so that you can adjust your aim. Also, if you're playing uphill, the ball won't travel as far. You end up adding too much loft and you hit it higher, so you've got to take more club. And if you're on a downhill lie, the ball's going to come out stronger and lower, so you've got to take more loft to adjust. Hills are really important to be able to navigate around the golf courses. Again, as new golfers, sometimes we kind of just forget these little features that can definitely improve your score. The bunker. High handicap to new golfers' worst nightmare, but that doesn't have to be the case. I think it's important that we understand probably three main principles to get out of a bunker. Loft, where we want the club to hit the sand, and speed. And if we can do that, we will get the ball out every time. First off is loft. Make sure you use a sand wedge or a lob wedge. You want loft on your golf club, you really do. So what I'm going to do here is add a little bit of loft. It's called open in the face. I'm going to twist the golf club a little bit to the right. So I've now presented more loft and then re-grip the golf club. Now that's going to look a little bit bizarre. It almost looks like the face is aiming too far to the right, which it will be a little bit. You could aim a fraction more to the left, but that's not the most important factor. We just want to make sure we have loft. Number two, it's important that we hit the sand first. We don't want to hit the golf ball first in a bunker shot. So you can't do this legally, but in practice you can. Draw a line a couple of inches behind the golf ball. We want the golf club to hit that line. That's where it enters the sand. And then number three, speed. Don't be scared about hitting it a little bit firmer, a little bit harder, and in your mind, almost try and hit a handful of sand out onto the green. That's how fast and hard you need to hit it. So I've opened my golf club, I've then re-gripped it. I'm going to hit the line and hit with speed. That way the ball pops out pretty easily, and I think most high handicappers and new golfers will be delighted with that result. That's where the ball was, and you can see there, that's where the club hit the sand, a couple of inches behind. We're getting closer to the flag now, so this gets really important. First off, if you can putt it. Even if you're just off the green, use your putter. I can promise you your results will be so much better than using a wedge or using anything. Putter is your trick from just off the green when you've got nothing in your way. Where you might have to just make a few little changes, let's say your golf ball's here, just in the rough, and you're just off the green. Now, putting that isn't really the plan because it's going to get snagged up in that longer grass and it becomes a little bit more challenging. So, it's not about grabbing your most lofted club here. It's about grabbing something like a 7-iron or an 8-iron and playing a little bump and run shot. This is so key. It's almost like a putting stroke, but you're just using a little bit of loft. So the first thing is we want to grip down the golf club. I'm almost holding it right down to the edge of the rubber. And I actually don't mind if you want to use your putting grip. That's not a problem at all. We then want the stance to be fairly narrow. And watch this, all I'm doing here with my arms and my club is keeping that Y shape. Between my right arm, my left arm and the club, I'm keeping that shape. And all I'm trying to do here is just use that little bit of loft to help it jump over this longer grass. And as soon as it gets on the green, I want that ball rolling. It's so important. So grip down. I'm literally going to play it like a putter shot, like a putting stroke. Go in the hole. Ah! As you can see there, it just popped over any uneven surface and getting the ball rolling as quick as possible. Next top tip, and it's really simple, it's how to read the greens quickly. So I actually learned this from Tommy Fleetwood, so it's not a bad person to learn it from. It's about trying to read the green almost like a book. When you look around here now, it's quite obvious where the high point is, over here on the right hand side, that's the highest point. And where the low side is, that all runs down that way. So I can come and stand on the low side and almost read it from here. Because I'm seeing it from this angle now, I'm seeing that it's clearly running from downhill and I know it's right to left. But that's as simple as it can be. You don't have to think too much more than that, because if you've got an understanding of where the slope's going to go, whether it's going right to left or left to right or up and downhill, you can make such a quicker assessment. And then before I put it, I can mark the golf ball on the green where I can put a marker just behind. I can pick my golf ball up, make sure there's no mud, dirt that could affect the putt, make sure you've rubbed all that off. And then even use the logo on the golf ball to line up where I want the ball to start. We know it's downhill, right to left. I just feel prepared. That didn't take long and I'm ready to go. So important putting that we don't neglect it, because it can really save you a lot of shots. For more great golf tips, be sure to subscribe.